Hey guys, welcome to the Ramsey Paul Show. It is Tuesday, November 25th. This is Thanksgiving weekend. So it feels like a different day than Tuesday. I know a lot of people are taking days off this week. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving with your family coming up. It should be a good time. So welcome to the Ramsey Paul Show. I do this Monday through Friday. Be sure to like and subscribe. And tonight on my Substack, you can see the Substack below. We have a roundtable every Tuesday evening for the Substack members. It's a good way to support me. I encourage you to sign up if you like what I'm doing on this show. All right, today, some of the same old in the news, but there was an interesting convention, I guess you'd call it. It was the Jewish Leadership Conference, where you have all these Jews get together and they advocate for their racial interests. And that's perfectly acceptable. I mean, they're not deplatformed. They're not called Nazis. They're not called racist. This is considered fine. In fact, a good thing. And as I've often have said, and I know it's cliche. Imagine if white people did this. Well, yeah, if white people had a white leadership conference, these same people that attend the Jewish leadership conference would be screaming, Nazi, white supremacists, oh, a Holocaust is going to happen again. We have to shut it down. And their little groups like the ADL would be putting pressure for the venue to cancel bank accounts, to try to kick the conference off major social networks. It definitely couldn't be on YouTube. You couldn't have the white leadership conference on YouTube. That would be banned immediately. But these people, they're perfectly fine having a racial group advocate for themselves, and it's they see this is how it should be. And it is racial because most Jewish people do not practice Judaism. It's actually a minority. Some do, like Ben Shapiro, but most don't. Many are atheist or whatever. And so it's an ethnic thing. It's an ethnic religion, like a lot of the old religions were. And I have nothing against that, but it is interesting. So that's the background. And they had this lady, Bari Weiss. She's the new head of CBS News, and she's Jewish, like I mean, way disproportionate amount of the people in the media are Jewish in Hollywood. And she was on with Ben Shapiro and a few other people, and they were kvetching about how they can no longer censor. They need to censor people better, which they never really stopped. Like CBS is never going to give a voice to someone that's a real dissident. They're not going to do that. But they're really upset what's happening here. So let's take a look at this and kind of go through what she is saying. It's a short clip, but here it is. So here it is. They're at the National Jewish Leadership Conference. Okay, here's Bari Weiss.
All of us see the moment that we're in. And all of us see that the choices that it feels like we have sometimes, which is Hassan Piker and Tucker Carlson, or Nick Fuentes and, Andrew Tate.
What does she mean? Those are the only choices. It's like everyone has a podcast, right? I used to have this black girl used to follow me on my videos. It's kind of funny. She was kind of based for being black, but she once quipped like just every black kid had a mixtape. Every white kid has a podcast, and that's pretty true. So there's like millions of options out there, and she's trying to frame it. Americans only can choose between Andrew Tate and Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. That's all the choice you have. We need our voices. And never mind, these people, they control CBS, ABC, NPR, everything, YouTube via their ADL censors. I mean, they control all the major institutions. And these people they're complaining about, they're not even on really major social media platforms except for X. And that's not good enough. But she's trying to frame it right away like, oh, they're the victims. You just get the choices of these people.
Kind of people that are rising in the podcast charts, those don't actually represent our values. And I don't think that they.
What do you mean our values? I guess she means Jewish values because she's at the Jewish Leadership Conference. But if they're getting popular and people are watching them, I would say they do represent a lot of people's values, right? Because if they didn't represent a lot of people's values, people wouldn't watch. I've always said that. If that's why they have to censor, because they don't want to make it open. And this is why libertarians get it wrong, because Bari Weiss, she cares more about her ethnic self-interest, meaning she's Jewish, than she is making money by far. Because if you put Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes on CBS, let's say had a show on CBS and let them speak freely, I guarantee you it'd be one of the top shows in the nation. It would be huge, and they'd make a shitload of money on advertisers. But they don't want that. They don't want Americans to determine who they listen to. They want to gatekeep. And so what she's saying is a contradiction. She's saying, "Oh, no one really likes these people anyway, so we got to censor them." Well, if no one really cared for them, it doesn't represent at least a big segment of American opinion. It wouldn't be an issue, but it is an issue.
Represent the values and the worldview of the vast majority of Americans. And so this is an opportunity to speak for the 75%, for the people that are on the center left and the center right.
So what she's doing center left and center right, and what she means by that is they support her ethnic homeland, because she supports her ethnic homeland, the Jewish homeland of Israel, meaning it's for the Jewish people, it's not for other people. Now, our people, she would say that's Nazism. So if you said like Germany should be for white Germans, she would start screeching that's Nazism and fascism. And Ben Shapiro would do the same thing. He's on the stage here. So this is what she means by that.
Still believe in equality of opportunity, that still believe passionately in the American project, that still believe in.
Well, no, America's not a project. It's a homeland. It's not a homeland for her. Her homeland, ethnic homeland, is Israel, or her fellow Jews across the globe. This is my people. My people were pioneers. This is my homeland. It's not a project. And I find that offensive. It's interesting how she even uses that terminology, the American project. No, it's not a project. It's a land, it's soil, it's blood, it's the people that made it. And her ancestors, probably immigrants from Russia or Kazakhstan or God knows what, 100 years ago, they weren't really part of this. It wasn't a project, it's our homeland.
All of the things that everyone in this room believes in, which is liberty and freedom and individual responsibility, and in the most basic level, the right to know what is actually going on in the world, not the world as propagandists and ideologues imagine it to be, but what's.
Oh, it's hilarious. So she's the head of the mainstream news, and they want to tell you what really is what's happening in the world. Don't let your lying eyes fool you. That's not really happening. They want to, so they put programs together on CBS. And if they did a program, what are they going to show? It's just cliche. It's going to be the girl boss is going to be the hero. Say if they have a science fiction show, and you're going to have the brilliant black scientist, the wonderful gay couple, and the villain is going to be a white man. And maybe you have another white guy that's he's not a bad guy, but he's really stupid and doofus. And the black guy has to help him, and he's scared, and the white woman has to rescue him. You already know that's the propaganda. She wants you to believe that. Don't believe your own lying eyes. This is what we want you to believe.
Actually going on in the world and in your community, so you can make decisions about where to send your kids to school, about where to live, and about how to vote. That used to just be normal. And the goal of what we're trying to do at CBS is to get back to that normalcy. And I feel
so normalcy was her idea, is like, well, we control all the institutions and we tell you what you should think. And they still do. This is what's ironic. It's not like CBS has been, David Duke has controlled CBS for the last 40 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. You look at 60 Minutes, and all those are very heavily cosmopolitan, Jewish, left wing. Same with ABC, NBC, NPR. But they're acting like, oh, we got to return to normalcy. Whereas somehow they're acting like Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, Tucker Carlson. They took over all these shows. Hell, even Tucker got fired from Fox. So they have like all the major media, and they act like, oh, we got to return to normalcy by not allowing Tucker Carlson on here, or not allowing Nick Fuentes or Andrew Tate. Well, newsflash, you never have allowed them on. You kicked them off. So what are you talking about?
Incredibly energized and enthusiastic, because I think that is where the vast majority of Americans actually are.
Well, who cares what you think? See, she talks to these words liberty, but she doesn't mean it. She means she wants to censor you. She wants to gatekeep what you can see. You can't make it up on your own mind. No, 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 because she has the monopoly on the truth. And the truth is, you could have differences of opinion. You could be center left, center right. What does center mean? By who defines what the center is? She would define it meaning you support Israel. So if you're on the what she called extreme left and you don't like Israel, you're Palestinian rights. No, no, we can't have that. Or if you're on the extreme right, we shouldn't be subservient to Israel. Oh, we can't have that. We have to have the reasonable people on.
Well,
and there's Ben Shapiro clapping like a seal that he thinks, oh, okay, I'm with my people. She's talking about she needs to gatekeep opinions better, and I'm going to be here clapping like a seal about that.
So that articulation of that set of goals to speak into the lives of the 75%, how are you going to do that? What's your...
Well, it's just censorship. That's all they could do. And again, it's no change. CBS never allowed anyone was outside of what they deemed appropriate.
Strategy for success?
So I think one of the problems is a lot of people have tried to do centrist news. I know this because I am like the target audience for those things. And the reason that they have all failed is it's like trying to force feed spinach down someone's throat, right?
No, it's because it's fake. We saw that with COVID. We saw this now with the Ukraine war, where they're claiming that Russia was out of missiles in 2022. They were fighting with shovels and they're losing billions of men. And you had all these glorious Ukrainian victories. Turned out all to be bullshit. And the same with COVID. Oh, if you don't get the COVID shot, you're going to get, if you get the COVID shot, you're not going to get, if you get the COVID shot, you're not going to get COVID. Otherwise, you're going to die. Remember that? And it's all bullshit. But the media just pushes bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. And that's why the media is not popular anymore. It's not because she's like, oh, well, you just need to eat your spinach. Well, no, it's just like poison. Why would I want to eat poison when you just lie to us?
Very like tofu, oatmeal. It's like centrist news is choosing the midpoint between every single topic. It's felt like an absence of charisma and identity. And I, as nostalgic as people might be for an era in which 30 million Americans every night watched Walter Cronkite and saw him as the voice of truth, and I understand why they're nostalgic for that. We're not going back to that. So how do you build trust in a moment of unbelievably low trust in all of our public institutions?
Well, I'll tell her. She doesn't want to hear this. The way you build trust, if you really mean liberty, is you let the market decide. So on CBS, you put on shows, even people that outside of your view that may oppose funding Israel, you give them a show and you let the audience decide. That's the free market. And if no one wants a show, if everyone finds it boring or they don't agree with it, they won't watch it. And this is a problem, is the left, they put together these shows no one wants to watch because they're bullshit, they're boring, but they try to force this upon you. But if she's serious about how to do this and open it up, that's what they should be doing. But that's not what she's planning to do.
Especially the mainstream press. I don't think it's by pretending like we can go back to having a view from nowhere. I think it's about who's in the room, right? I think it's about redrawing the lines of what falls in the 40-yard lines of acceptable debate and acceptable American politics and culture.
Okay, so she's saying they need to redraw the lines. And again, she's speaking at the Jewish Leadership Conference. So they have the right to determine what Americans can think. They draw the circle. So they say, okay, you can't debate about Israel. That's off limits. If you do that, you're anti-Semitic. We got to support Israel. And you can't debate, there could be racial differences. You can't do that. And you can't debate about us having our identity as Jews. We can have that. But you white people, you can't. You can't have an identity. That's not up for debate. Okay. You can debate maybe about capital gains tax rate, maybe about healthcare, but we set the parameters about what you are allowed to debate on. And so it's good for them because either way they win, right? So if you vote Democrat, you're getting someone that supports Israel. If you vote Republican, you get someone that supports Israel. So they don't really give a damn about the other issues like the capital gains tax. I mean, you can have that little midget, Ben Shapiro. Oh, yeah, we got to lower the capital gains tax. Yeah, I'm a capitalist. And then you can have Bernie. Oh, we got to be more socialist or some other AOC, they don't really give a shit about that as long as their core values are not threatened. That's what she's talking about.
I mean that in like a censorious gatekeeping way. I mean,
But it is. That's what she means. The censorious gatekeeping. That's what the ADL does. They put pressure on like YouTube to ban views they don't like. They deplatform people. This is what they do. This is what she's talking about. So she's talking about censoring people. But I don't want to say the word censorship because that doesn't sound good. But we want to exclude all voices that we disagree with. We determine what's acceptable conduct.
having people that are clearly identifiably on the center left and on the center right in conversation with each other. And we've been doing.
Well, what does that even mean? What do they mean by center left and center right? I don't even, what does left and right mean? Years ago, it goes back to the French Revolution. The supporters of the king were on the right. But what does that mean anymore? You get it all. Was Hitler left wing or right wing? He was a socialist. It's so stupid. So these terms don't really have any meaning anymore. What she means by center left and center right is you are in the acceptable circle that the Jewish Leadership Conference, they define what you as Americans are allowed to talk about.
So much of this at the Free Press. I was in, where was I? Chicago. Last week, I think I've lost all track of time, where Dana Lash, former spokeswoman from the NRA, was debating Alan Dershowitz on guns. Now, these are people that have wildly different opinions on the Second Amendment, and yet showing that they can have good faith, very passionate, very charismatic.
Alan Dershowitz, charismatic? What, he's like 100 fucking years old? So what they got here, this is what I'm talking about. They get two older boomers, or Dershowitz, probably older than a boomer, together to give the mainstream bullshit where they debate about gun control. It's so boring. It's so boring. It doesn't have anything to do with the questions of our life. Like, do we have a right to have a homeland? Oh, they fucking do. We got to support their homeland. But do we have a right to a homeland? No, we can't debate that. That's outside the sphere. But hey, you can debate about gun control. We're okay with that. Hey, look how progressive we are. We have these dynamic people on. Alan Dershowitz, he really speaks to the youth of America. This is what the youth of America cares about. See, this is what they want to do. They want to set up these two bland old people that just follow the line because they know they don't want to step on these people's toes and get the platform. And they just have their little fake and gay conversations that no one gives a shit about. Are you really going to listen to this debate with Alan Dershowitz and this broad about gun control? I mean, what's next? Oh, we're going to debate about capital punishment. Yeah, that'd be a great debate. It's just crazy. It's the same old bullshit.
Disagreement and still like each other at the end of the day. We think it's important. And so for me, it's always about the curation, like who's in the room, how are you showing centrist news, not as the absence of disagreement and the absence of charisma, but explicitly charismatic and disagreeable, and yet doing it in good faith.
So she's saying you can disagree about things we permit you to disagree about, things that really don't matter to young people or the future of our country. The big issues you can't discuss about. But hey, if you want to have a debate about gun control, man, we're all down for that. You have our permission because we like that sort of debate.
And the other way you do it is, by being really honest with your audience. Like,
yeah, honest. Yeah, I don't think what you would describe her as being, but yeah, that's where we are now. It is pretty crazy. So I let off with that story. That is the thing. All right. Let's see here. This is as we see here, let me just show you guys this. I touched on this yesterday, this whole Ukraine Russia nonsense. I guess what happened is Trump proposed his envoys went to Moscow. They gave a list of a potential peace plan. Europe and Ukraine had a fit. And Ukraine and Europe, they created their own peace plan where they're not going to cede territory, which is the whole purpose of the war. So it's stupid. And I did a post about this. It's a comment. It's like a tragedy, but it's also a comedy. We've been through this now 3 times. And let me just bring this up. I wrote this. This pretty well captures what's happening now. Okay, here we go. So Russia will capture the city, despite all the propaganda by people like on CBS. Oh, Russia's stupid. They're just a gas station with nukes. They have no power. But oh, they're losing. And then this city will never fall to Russia. And then it falls the next day. Right? They're just liars. So a Russian captures a city that just happened recently. Actually, 2 key cities in the Donbass that Zelensky just 2 weeks ago said, "Oh, there's no way they're going to capture these cities," but it fell. Right? Pokrovsk and Kupiansk, they fell. And so then Trump is like, oh shit, I was told that Russia's losing. And then Trump has panics because he sees, oh my God, the whole Ukraine's going to go down. It's going to be the fall of Saigon moment, right? When Vietnam fell. And he goes, I'm going to get blamed for this. So he sends his envoy Witkoff to Russia, ask them what they want so they can just stop the war because Ukraine's losing. And then he gets hard ass with Ukraine saying, you're losing. You got to accept a peace deal. Here's the deal, Ukraine, Zelensky. If you don't accept this peace deal, we're out of here. We're not going to give you any more intelligence. We're not going to sell you any more weapons. You're on your own. And then Europe and Ukraine and the neocons in the United States, they have a bitch fit. And, oh, Trump's a Putin asset. And they all cry and screech. And then, but Ukraine and Europe are like, but we're reasonable, though. We want peace too. So they take the peace deal and they rework it to be, okay, here's our new peace deal. Russia can surrender and pay us reparations. That's our new peace deal. Russia surrenders, even though they're winning, and that they have to pay us money. Yeah, like that's going to happen. So they put that forward. And then Trump gets on board because Trump is not very strong. He could flip-flops back and forth. He talks to Putin and goes, yeah, you're reasonable. I think that's a good deal. Then he hears European leaders and Zelensky, wow, I see your point too. Maybe you're right. So they'll take this deal. This is where we are now. They'll take this deal back to Russia. And Russia's going to say, they'll be polite, but they're going to say, fuck off. What are you talking about here? This isn't a deal. And then Trump is going to pout and say, oh, Putin's not being reasonable. But there's nothing Trump can do anymore. Rubio has already said, or Scott Bessent, I believe, said there's not many more sanctions we can do on Russia. And we can't sanction China and India. That blew up. That's not going to work because we need China too much. So there's, unless we do World War III, there's not much really we can do. We don't have much military hardware anymore. We've blown through it all. So we're not that strong anymore. So there's not much we can really do. But Trump is going to act like a hurt bitch and be mad at Putin that he's not being reasonable. And he's going to encourage on Ukraine to fight on. And then Russia will take another city, and then we'll be back to square one again, right? And then there'll be another peace deal. This whole thing is nonsense, but this is where we are now. And I'm not taking it seriously anymore. I don't think the Russians are taking it seriously anymore. And this is where we are right now. All right, let's see here. So that's the Ukrainian news. And let's see here. JD Vance, he had a good thing he said on X too, and I agreed with him on this. I like JD Vance. I know a lot of people in our sphere don't like him, but I think he's changed. And yeah, he may betray us, but he sounds better than Trump. After 4 years of housing prices doubling, in some case tripling, many young people feel priced out of the American dream of home ownership. So JD Vance gets this. I don't think Trump does it. He's an old boomer. He's kind of disconnected now. But JD Vance understands this. A welfare fraud scandal in Minnesota reveals that a large number of new arrivals, they're Somalis, aren't assimilating and are funneling our tax dollars to literal terrorist group. An innocent woman was set on fire in Chicago. That was a black that set another blonde girl on fire. He had been arrested like 79 times previously, but they kept letting him out because he's black. And just for fun, he decided to light a white girl on fire. This is starting to be a pattern. But, white people don't have any rights. So, the media doesn't care. Bari Weiss is going to be screaming about that. Now, if it had been a Jewish woman, oh, the Holocaust. But if it's a white girl, yeah, fuck her. That's CBS's position. Did CBS do a news story about it? No, they don't give a shit. The Obamacare insurance system is buckling under its own weight. Yeah, the healthcare system is huge. And the country's in $38 trillion in debt. Our administration is working hard on addressing all of these problems. I don't think so. I think JD Vance is on point, but, vice president doesn't have any power. So Trump is actually JD Vance is actually pushing back against the mainstream Republicans, and that's good. I think if JD Vance is going to have a chance in 2028, he's going to have to distance himself from Trump and the neocons. Because for whatever reason, I'm sad to say, I don't know if it's due to age or whatever, Trump is getting old, but Trump is acting very weak. He's very susceptible to people like Rubio and the neocons, and he's really disconnected. And he doesn't seem to understand what's happening. He thinks, oh, we're in the golden age. Everything's wonderful and perfect. No, Trump, it isn't. And it really pisses people off when you have that attitude. Whereas JD Vance seems to understand there are problems and we need to address it. So that's where we are with that. So good news from JD Vance. All right. Those were the stories for today. Again, if you like this, be sure to like and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.